All right.
Episode 2.
Episode 2. Here we go, guys. This one's a little stickier, so should be interesting.
Should be interesting. So today we're going to be talking about clothing.
Can we get canceled on episode 2?
I hope not.
Let's see.
I hope we don't get canceled. We got some good information here.
We do.
So today's conversation is about clothing. Clothing does get in one of those tricky or, as mentioned earlier, sticky, uncomfortable conversations because we all have our own ideas and we all have our own creative ways to express ourselves, and clothing is absolutely one of those ways. And when you start to kind of break down clothing, people kind of get a little bit upset because it's like, well, those are my favorite shoes, or those are my favorite, pair of jeans, or and that's not our job here right now, is to tell you to go buy a new wardrobe. Right. Our job is just to kind of make you think outside the box of maybe some different limitations, or just thinking a little bit differently about clothing and what you're wearing.
So we talk about clothing as a costume. Mm-hmm. You get to pick your costume, right? Everybody gets input on that as much as you want them to or not want them to. They're certainly going to have opinions about it, right? We'll talk about that more in a little bit. But you get to pick, unless your mom's picking out your clothing for you, or unless you have a uniform. Like you might say, when I used to work in an office world, shirt, tie, suit jacket, I was very unhappy. Clearly Alice and I are fashion plates on our Wednesday morning recording here. We both wear hoodies and jeans type of people, or sweatpants, whatever. But you pick your clothing, which makes it your costume. That's profoundly cool. That means you pick your style, whether your style is, I'm focused on form, I'm focused on function. These are options we're going to kind of talk about a little bit here.
Fashion. Some people dress with trends, and some people dress just how they want to. Just because of comfort.
I came up with trends.
Yeah, I mean, I typically dress for more comfort versus style. I don't have a very good sense of style. I have a good sense of style. I'll help other people with their, like, hey, should I wear this black top with these jeans or darker jeans? Like, I'll help you with that. Like, I got a good sense of, like, don't wear that together, but that's not me wearing those clothes. I'm more of the yoga pants and crew necks with a messy bun, as you can see. Short personal
story, Allison helped me last week. I needed a new pair of shoes. And these are walking around shoes. They're functional. And I said my metric was they need to have reviews and say they're comfortable, and they need to not look like dad shoes. And Allison's like, these aren't horrible.
Pretty good. But basically people are going to be observing us. People are going to be, if you see somebody walk by, you're going to be kind of looking at what they're wearing, right? Yesterday, somebody ran by and they had a fluorescent colored jacket on, which is an awesome decision because you can actually see it, especially if they are headed towards 27. Somebody on a bike was wearing like a bright orange, I think it was a hat. And then they have like one of those vests on that have reflectors, so like visibility, right? Like sometimes we've definitely seen those people at night wearing like a dark sweatshirt and dark pants, and it's just more about like the choices, right? Like being safe, even just exercising, right? I don't think that guy walks around with a giant lime green jacket.
We have a friend who's got that fluorescent jacket.
Well, listen,
she may be looking for attention. I don't know.
In fashion, like to wear those fluorescent colors, but for a safety object or
to your point, there's two women that walk down. I have a very curvy, narrowy, wooded road, and there's two women that have taking morning walks there. And the sun's not coming up until 6:30 right now, so at 5:30 in the morning, they're not wearing anything reflective. I've almost turned them into hood ornaments a couple times because I don't see them coming around a corner, and it's a very narrow road. So, these are the decisions that we have to think about.
Exactly. I buy college attire for a lot of our students that come to the Metro Academy. They go off to college, and a lot of times I will buy an article of clothing. Recently, they've been crew neck sweatshirts. So I have a crew neck sweatshirt from Cornell, and every time I wear the sweatshirt, no fail, somebody literally is like, oh, I'm also an alum, or I'm this, or I'm that. So they assume, which is probably why I wear it more often than the other ones, but...
Put a note down about tribal markers in clothing.
But basically, I get more comments about this Cornell sweatshirt, or, more conversation Sparks
Yep.
with that Cornell sweatshirt, and it depends really A, on my mood, or B, kind of the situation. If it's just quick in passing, you know, a quick wave, like, oh thanks, you know, like I don't need to explain my life story and how, you know, I work at a jiu-jitsu academy and all these kids, blah blah blah, right? Like
we both get. Sure.
So sometimes I just have like quick responses, or you know, oh it doesn't belong to me, it's somebody else's, or sometimes, hell yeah, I went to Cornell, like who, like, you know,
Yep.
nobody, you know, nobody's ever gonna know that I didn't. So it depends. Sometimes I really like to just say my kids go to Cornell, and then they're really shocked that, you know, oh, you have a kid in college, like.
Well, so there's a whole fun conversation real quick on the tribal markings thing. I just went to New York for a work trip, and I did not wear a Red Sox hat because I'm walking around Manhattan. I could, I'm sure most people would kind of rib me about it, but it's a tribal marker that means something to people. Doesn't really matter what it is. You know, we see our logos out and, you know, we're like, oh, our humans, high five.
Right.
I had well, we'll talk more about fashion choices in a moment, but
Yep.
I had a specific fashion choice for St. Patrick's Day, and I got noticed by people who would notice such things. So.
Yeah, and kind of just along the lines of just going to sporting events, right? Like I've been to a Patriots game with a Cowboys fan, and you know it's
wearing
it's funny.
cowboy outfits.
It's funny, and but again, it's one of those things where one of the places that crime happens is where these imaginary territories can be in dispute,
Yep.
and knowing that, giving them that clear warning of like somebody might actually try to pick a fight with you because you're a Cowboy fan. Obviously,
we both
like
know people that's happened
yes,
to, so, yeah.
It's more extreme. I think Red Sox Yankees, or more extreme like Bruins Canadians, or like it's more extreme with like more rivals. Like I don't necessarily think the Dallas Cowboys are like really a rival to the Patriots. But
I have a friend who was assaulted in Yankee Stadium wearing Red Sox.
Correct.
Female, punched and had beer thrown over her in Yankee Stadium wearing Red Sox attire.
So just if you are gonna do that, if you are a fan, obviously just knowing that ahead of time, right? So kind of one of the biggest bullet points I have for this talk, for our Warrior Women class or our Junior Warrior Women, is basically knowing your limits and kind of what to expect when wearing basically anything. If you're wearing high heels, right? How well do you walk in high heels? Me, I would break both of my ankles in 15 seconds.
When I wear high heels.
Flat, yeah. Are you wearing sneakers, right? Are they comfortable sneakers? Are they gonna basically give you blisters, right? Like, I've definitely wore pairs of sneakers before, put them on, they're comfortable, and then 20 minutes later of walking, you know, through the North End, I have giant blisters on the back of my feet, and I'm like, Dad, I can't walk anymore, right? Like, like you gotta carry me. So basically just knowing your limitations, right? Once I wore sandals to the beach, obviously, ended up having to run back to the car about a mile, and I had blisters inside my toes. I ended up having to take them off to walk barefoot in the streets of, I think it was Mayflower Beach, so Dennis. And just, you know, my feet at the end, like I couldn't walk on them the rest of the weekend. So
flip-flops in particular, I have a running joke with our students. There is no particularly good reason to wear flip-flops at almost any point in your entire life, other than going to like a communal shower and maybe walking from your car to the beach if you're very close.
Not a mile away.
To prove this point, we occasionally take our students outside. You know, this is a non-traditional jiu-jitsu type environment. And we work out in the parking lot on days, and sometimes we do either fighting outside or running away, escape type drills. And if we do a runaway drill, you have to run. You don't get to take 2 steps and say, I ran away, because I want your footwear choices to be indicative of your experiences. And all the people wearing flip-flops are like, oh crap, I got flip-flops on today. Well, you made a bad choice. Or we have a couple of students who sometimes walk in here barefoot, like they get dropped off at the front door and walk in here barefoot, which don't do that, gross. But you know, it's like, oh, we're going outside and we're running away today, like I'm barefoot. I'm like, you made a bad choice. What if an emergency happens right now? You don't get to suddenly be like, well, my plan is in place for this exact perfect thing to happen exactly the right way every single time.
One of the things I think about specifically, like if I need a jacket, right? Like what happens if my car breaks down and I actually have to be outside of the car for a prolonged period of time? Do I have a jacket? Do I have a blanket? Do I have something that's going to keep me warm? Yeah,
layers.
Layers. So like if my car breaks down and I have to walk 2 miles to a gas station, right? Like anything can happen. Like if I get rear-ended or if I get T-boned, right? Like if something happens, it doesn't necessarily mean like a self-defense situation, but like just anything. If anything happens, I have to walk a prolonged period. Do I have a pair of shoes in my car? I actually do. Do I have a blanket, or do I have a sweatshirt or an extra layer backup? So I do keep that kind of stuff in my car. I keep that stuff in the office at work. So just in case something happens, right?
Speaking to young females, you did a junior war room class last summer.
Yep.
And there were some particularly great points you made. And because I'm a big male, I'm going to shut up and let Allison handle this part because she has the perspective on this.
Yeah.
Around attention.
So I wasn't gonna get to that yet, but we can just jump right into attention. Basically, if you are going to dress to impress, totally fine. I do it often. You know, whether it's just to impress one specific person or.
I know what your most impressive outfit is.
What is it?
Your all black with your 2nd degree black belt.
Wear that to the bars. You got.
You would definitely get attention, that's for sure.
I should. I should wear that. Be like, who's that weirdo? Anyways, so if you are dressing to impress, which happens to everybody, we love to do that sometimes, some of us more than others, but if you are doing that and you are dressing for attention, whether it's just again, getting that attention of that one particular person you just, I don't know, maybe want to impress, knowing that all eyes are gonna be on you, men, women. I'm not ashamed to say I do check other women out. I do check other men out too, but good and bad eyeballs are gonna be seeing you. And if you are, all the eyeballs, and if you are dressing to impress and you are dressing with that idea of I wanna get people to look at me, just know that good and bad eyeballs are going to attract attention. If you're dressing like me and you're dressing to kind of blend in or be very forgettable, then it makes it easier to kind of creep through the crowds and makes it easier to just kind of blend in. Then people aren't going to notice you, and it just attracts less bad things kind of coming your way.
And that's choices you have to make, right?
Correct.
I like the summation quote of when you dress for attention, you get all of the attention.
Yes.
You don't get to say, I only want this attention. The rest of you don't get to pay attention to me. It doesn't really work that way.
Correct.
It'd be nice if it did, but it doesn't really function that way.
And then basically he kind of already went over basically some of the drills that we do already in like the Warrior Women program. It's the the type of thing with the Jiu-Jitsu program. We do, we work in our street clothes, we work in different situations. With the Junior Warrior Women, I specifically had them wear a outfit that they were going to be kind of wearing out and about, and kind of having them fight in that.
You did environmental fighting.
We did environmental fighting, so actually using like chairs or desks or pens.
Yep. And some of them, I mean, athletic young females, they were moving. I was kind of observing their safety, and they were moving around very well. But again, you're on a nice, clean, carpeted surface, hard concrete underneath. Like this is a very sterile environment as much as possible to train in. If you go out in Boston, cobblestones are, I've heard a lot of women over the years make mention of the cobblestones as a particular nemesis that they have to try to manage.
I had a friend actually have to take off her shoes and walk in the bare feet on the cobblestones because the heels kept getting stuck in. Luckily I didn't have to piggyback them. Actually I might have. That might have been the night I piggybacked Kara through the north end.
She's very small, so that's not
She is, and she's light, so it's like, it was like a nice little workout. I probably didn't get my workout in that day. Jump on my back!
You know, when we do our training here, so for people who train in the martial arts of some variety, I recommend this strongly. If you're anybody instructor level and you're watching this, every other Saturday we do a street clothes Saturday. And our recommendation is, like, sometimes we do make it thematic, like what would you wear to work? And some of our students have gone to like a Savers or a Salvation Army and gotten like an ill-fitting, inexpensive suit that they wore on the mat. You know, one of our black belts, Tim Foley, he got a suit and he trained that day in the suit. Not a nice one, right? And the idea was, how limited are you? We had to go to a funeral on Monday, and I put on my monkey suit, and I was like very locked down.
Yes.
I know you can get a bigger fitting suit. I hadn't put this on in a while, and my shoulders are gotten bigger, I guess. I couldn't move very much. I would not want to fight in that thing. I'd have to pop it to rip it and then have to work through.
And then have to work through, yeah. And
Yeah.
a couple of the things, like knowing your limits of, is this outfit a baggy outfit? Am I gonna trip over my pant legs? Or, you know, is it a very tight jacket that I'm gonna have to now either take off and fight, or like, what are my limitations with my arms? Is it an expensive item?
Yep.
Like, am I fighting in an Armani suit right now, and you know, my Gucci shoes, and like, is it an expensive item? Is it something that I don't want to break? Like, I don't want to break my watch,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Like, is it something that I got to be careful
Or
of
lose.
when I'm wearing,
Have
or
taken away
lose.
from you.
Yep.
Yep.
So just a lot of things to think about with our
Yeah.
clothing. But again, our goal is not to necessarily be like, don't wear high heels. Like,
No.
wear them. Wear them.
Just be informed of your decisions.
Correct. And just kind of working through some of those issues, like, can I kick in high heels? Can I walk fast in high heels? Can I run? They do make excellent weapons, by the way. So,
They do.
and just kind of thinking about, like, if I am dressing to impress everybody, you are getting a lot of eyeballs on you, and a lot of people to kind of look your way, and sometimes those people might not be who you want to attract, but
It's a consideration.
it is definitely a consideration. And you know, whenever I do dress to impress, I do have that mentality of like, I know everybody's going to be looking.
There's certainly the sexual connotation to it, but if you're wearing flashy clothing, like expensive brands, expensive watches, you know, things that look like you have money, I'm not a person that's likely to get mugged most of the time. I'm just the way I look, and frankly the way I dress. Like, I think the most expensive visible thing I have right now is this watch, like a fitness watch. But it doesn't look like much, all things considered. I don't really dress up for clothing apparel. I don't really own a lot of expensive clothing. It's not my thing. But if I were to start dressing in a much more expensive $1,000 shirt, suit, shoes, I don't even know what that stuff is, but I'm sure they exist. I don't know what are the expensive sneakers that the kids all freak out about.
I don't know. I just think of Barney Stinson with that diamond suit. If you've ever seen How I Met Your Mother, he buys a diamond suit, and it's like all the pinstripes are actual diamonds.
You can raise your profile enough to make the risk of attacking you, if you're a big person, more potentially viable for somebody. So
correct. So that's basically what we had about clothing today.
Yeah. Important considerations.
Exactly, just considerations.
Yep. And not just the sexual side as well. Like, you know, are you looking expensive? These are all factors that matter. Can you move, as Allison's point said?
And again, anything can happen. It can be something simple as you run out of gas.
Yeah.
Or your car breaks down and you have to kind of walk, or, you know, and it just can be something really simple.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoy this topic, we are looking for more. We have lots of ideas. Our problem right now is trying to sort our ideas out. However, feedback, we had a question come up, so we have a next talk actually coming up for next week. So we're looking for feedback from you guys. What do you guys find interesting? What challenges have you had in this topic? So feel free to put it down in the comments. If you like what we're doing, throw a like on the video. Yay. We're trying to build a little something here, see what we can put out. We want to put good information out into the universe. So thank you guys for watching.